Okay, I think I'm on. Sorry, I'm just watching the screen. Going, is it working? Is it working? All right. So if I could have some feedback here to make sure that you can hear me, write it in the chat, and it should be working. I see that my mic is working. I'm just using the computer audio again today. Not going to worry with the Yeti today. Everyone said I sounded okay, so we're just gonna go with that. I'm just making sure that everything is working. My screen, I don't see it. I'm gonna refresh Twitch here. Maybe I have to refresh to see. It says it's offline. Should be going here. Says streaming. Play. Oh, here it goes. Taking a moment. Oh. Of course, I had my computer audio on. There we go. Turning it off. Okay, good. Okay, now it's going. I think it took a minute to actually come up. So I'm sorry if you've been watching me wonder if it's on or not, but I now have confirmation you can hear me. Okay, good. Now I can see my notes and, I'm sorry, the chat and everything. So just in case you are coming upon this video on Twitch, just a little intro. My name is Melissa Wanish. I am the founder of RubyThursday.com. It's a tutorial site for junior Rails developers. And I'm trying to now live code weekly and continue to work on an invoice app that I live coded for about 13 or 14 days back in the fall. And there's some things to fix up with it. Some bugs that have come up, or just some fine tuning. It's a live app. I'm using it for my clients. It's not fully launched yet. If you go to the home page, it's on gigtilt.com. It says coming soon. So I just want to fix it up a little bit. We have a couple of users from our course that we launched to help folks find jobs. And they've been giving me feedback as well. So I'm putting that in as well. So hopefully folks have gotten the email that I just sent out to my email list and are coming on, and people have been getting emails from Twitch saying, hey, they're on. And so I'm going to get started, and we're going to go for 2 hours, so until 7 p.m. Eastern time. I know I'm a little late getting on. Let's just call it mommy time. Actually, it was email time. I got sucked into my email, and then I was like, oh, I need to get ready. But here we go. So I'm going to get open the Trello board I have, taking notes on it, and then I will transition to remind folks what we're working on today. There was a question last time, because this was live coded, but then we turned it into a course that we bundled up with a couple other things. We are going to launch this course separately so that you can catch up and kind of know what's happening, because I'm just going to jump in and start working. And we are going to put that for people to sign up for next week. We're going to get that together. So, because I know this is kind of like jumping in mid-season, but hopefully it's still useful and interesting to hear me make decisions and work on things and see what my process is like. So, last time I even had to jump over and ask Todd a design question, so it might happen again as he takes care of our little 10-month-old now, baby, in our nursery. So he's listening and she's listening. So we're gonna get to it now. Here we go. Transition, OBS. And now you should be looking at my screen. I'm just gonna double check here. Yes, okay. All right, so we are going to, still working on this card here. We're gonna fix the Invoice Show page to show payment plans and one-time payments. Because at the beginning I only had subscriptions, and that's what it was all set up for, but now we added different types of ways to pay for a payment plan or a one-time payment. So we were working on one-time payments because that to me was a little easier to test. So I believe I have this all open. Yes, okay. So let's go back to our spec. Remind ourselves where we are exactly. Vendor. We started to move. Last time we moved out some of these specs to existing invoices, is things that apply to all the 3 different types right now. And then we pulled out things to manage that are just subscriptions. And then we pulled out one-time payment. And that's where we are. You can see I've commented out because we have a couple more things that we would want to manage with the one-time payment. So I left this as green, but I don't have any idea how this looks. Like, I left it looking pretty gnarly, I believe. So, gnarly. Well, it's confusing is what it'll look like if I launch it right now, if I deploy it right now. So let's go to Invoices, Show. All right, and so we're showing the invoice amount currency. Okay, share this. Delete. All right, I'm just looking. Total customers. See here? So down here, where we would be listing the invoice stats. Right now, I have 2 sections that both say total customers. Right? Because for subscriptions, it's going to have all of this stuff as well. But for one-time payments, you just need to know the total number that ever paid you on it. It's a one-and-done deal. So right now, just to make sure that I had it showing correctly, I put it twice. But what we need to do is, I think what we're going to do instead is going to move these to partials so that we clean up this file a little bit. And we're going to load the partial per the type of payment. So that is what we're going to do now. I think that makes the most sense. I could have a lot of if-else statements and have the whole bit of code. I could keep all this and just have an if statement up here. And the else break it up. But that's going to be harder to read. So I'm gonna move it out into a partial so that we know what it's supposed to load. And that is what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and make a new file. And right now, let's just make it in Invoices. Let's make a new folder. Let's go with let's call it stats partials, right? And then a new file, and we'll save this as and remember that partials always start with that underscore. And it's going to be for the one-time payment. So one-time payment stats.html.erb. Okay. So there it is. Now we're going to move this to there. All right, and then we need another partial. And save as subscription stats, right? .html.erb. Okay, and we're going to move the HTML that dealt with all the subscription stuff continues actually. Paid, unpaid, canceled. Okay. And oops, I lost track where we were. All right, so following down. One more. All right, X that out. Yep. Okay, that's fine. And then we'll put it in here. And when I copy paste, it moves it all over. So let's move it back. Okay, so now, looks like we're feeding in a few things. Transactions and invoice. May want to refactor that a little bit, but right now we will just try to make it work. So, and then for one-time payment, it's just transactions. Okay. All right, so now we're going to say if, now do I have, let's see. Well, let's just make the if-else statement real quick, and then we'll figure out if I have a helper here. If okay, that's in totally. Thanks for trying to help there, but I had to do an ERB here. Okay. If yeah, all right. And we're gonna need an else. Okay. All right. Well, I'll probably have an else if as well, but I think we'll stick with that for now. All right, now what I was thinking is if we have some kind of helper to tell me, or that I can call if to know what the payment type is or has been set for that invoice. So because we have an attribute called payment type, and that is either populated right now with text. I think we should probably change that to an enum. But right now it's text. And just a reminder that this is, we're, it's a very MVP, and, I think I will probably go back through and refactor a whole bunch of things now that I see where everything is coming in. But so just to keep that in mind as you watch. So, but let's go ahead and see if we have some helpers. If not, I will make them. So, track transaction. It'd be nice to know what type of invoice we have. We have different types of statuses. Do we have everything in the model? Let's see. Def payment plan. So I have one that's payment plan. But not one-time payment or subscription. So I put in one that I needed. And that was it. So let's see. Did we test it? I might not have tested it. Let's see. No. All right. Well, let's add some unit tests here. And so I got this from somebody I was working with. It's a nice little describe uniqueness. Validations. That's what that actually was. Is doing the presence of all kinds of validations here. Okay. Oh, I see. I needed it to be... Okay, so I was just looking back. I was confused on line 11. I'm pretty sure it's validations and not uniqueness, because that doesn't describe it. Okay. So for instance methods as opposed to class methods, we're going to use a hashtag. Now, it always, in my text editor, does that, but just that... and that we use a dot for class methods. And I thought that was nifty, so I'm using it. So we're going to first add in a test for payment plan since we already have it. It returns true if invoice is a payment plan. And let's go ahead and test the opposite. If it's not a payment plan. All right, I believe we have some factories. We do right there. So all right. So invoice equals factory bot create invoice for payment plan. And then we'll expect invoice dot payment plan. Oh, I forgot the question mark. The question mark indicates that it should return a true or false. It's a nice, you know, when you look at it's just a convention. You know, folks use. So if the, you know, if it's asking a question, oh, is it true or false? Let's see. And there's a question mark. So to I usually use equals true. Right. Now this is not going to be the red green red green refactor. That's not going to happen of you know, agile development and testing. It's probably going to just pass. But we're just going to go with it here. I could, what I could do to make sure that it does that is to take this out. All right, we'll comment it out, and then it'll be red. All right, so that'll be better. So I'm gonna copy paste most of this, or copy paste it, and then change this to be for subscription. And then it'll be false. All right, so let's run that. All right. I'm just going to run the whole thing. Now, what we learned last time is that it's a little bit slow running the tests when I'm also recording for Twitch. Oh! Outside of examples, see, would I miss an end? Oh, I forgot to do. So, apologies for the slower testing running, but the computer's also recording this and also live streaming it. It's definitely on the list to go and get a new computer. Oh, well, I will check the chat while it does this. I'm expecting it to come back, you know, red. So yes, if you have questions, anything like that, go into the chat and then I will check on it from time to time here. Hello! That's a fun power up. Oh, thank you. I'm sort of new to Twitch, but thank you. That's awesome. Hi. Thanks for watching. Okay, so hi back. All right, and I think it started running. Okay. Got nil, exactly. So our two examples are failing. So now we should be able to just put it back in, and it should pass. Okay, great. Let's, whenever we get a green, I'd love to commit. So, we're not tracking. We're really just modified the spec there. Git add invoice commit.m add test for payment plan question mark method. All right. So now we're going to repeat for our other two types. One time payment. So we can leave, so invoice is a one-time payment, and so we're going to create one-time payment. And we can keep this subscription because it's also not a one-time payment. So, that's one-time payment. Okay. So, great. So now when we run it, it actually is not going to find this method at all. And let's go ahead and just do, sorry. Didn't go up far enough. Our spec. There we go. Oh, 30. Well, whatever. Probably run them all then. If you do a line that's not there, it usually runs them all. One example. Yeah, well, nothing's on line 30. Oh, no, line 30. There we go. So that was up to there, so that's not helpful. Let's go 32. Ah, we forgot to change the right here, though. Copy. All right, now they should both. And that is the risk you taking, copying and pasting. You get 2 failures. That's another reason to definitely make sure you fail in the way you were expecting. All right, undefined method. Undefined method. That is what I'm looking for. All right, so now let's repeat. I'm just thinking about if the model is the best place for it. That's, one of those things we may refactor. If it's only used in views, we may move it to a helper. But this we were using also in other places. So it might come up that we need to check what type of payment it is. Payment it is other places. So let's move it here for now. All right, so one time payment. All right, now that should pass. Okay, good. Oh, if I do that, I can't see. Git add. Oh, well. All right, and we have one more to do, which is subscription. Oh, wrong place. Okay. Let's. All right. All right, which is a subscription. Is not a subscription. Subscription, and let's change this to subscription. We should change this one to be, how about a one-time payment? Subscription, false. Okay, so now we should get an undefined method error because we have not created the method. It is line 44. Undefined method, excellent. And then copy, paste. All right. And now they should pass. And now we can use these in our view to load the correct partial. Nope, we didn't do it right. Equal true, it did not. Our first one is failing. Subscription. Make sure the test is right. Let's look at our factory. Make sure. Aha! It's called monthly subscription and not just subscription. Okay. So this needs to be monthly subscription. Now it's green. So we're really doing the same things again. I'm just going to go up in my bash history. Subscription question mark method. All right, now let's go back to our show view, right? If at invoice one time payment Then we're going to, now with the equal sign, render, and we put it into a folder, stats partials. That would be one-time payment HTML.arb. Oh, stats. Don't want to forget the ending. So then we need to have locals, and I forget. I don't have everything memorized. There. Render form. Do I need to? Maybe I don't need any locals. Let's see if he'll be alright with that. We just keep the at there, because it's not running through a loop. Usually it's locals when you're then showing a loop of things, then you need to put it in there. Provide the local, like, you know, at invoices, because then it's going to loop through each one. So it's not something globally set. Like at invoices is, you know, set, not globally, but for it's an instance method that can be used by the views. And at transactions is something used. We'll see. We'll see if it gives an issue. So we've got the two going so far. We still have payment plan to deal with, but let's see if we can get this going first. So the spec we would run to make sure that's looking okay. Is vendor manages one-time payment. Let's make sure. Oh well. That this says correctly. All right. Let's see. Spec. It's running. Okay. Well, maybe I need to be more explicit about where it is. It's not just looking in invoice. Oh, maybe if I just do that. Does that work? I may have to say invoices because it's just looking in views. Yeah, okay. It says searching in views. It needs to search in invoices. There we go. All right, let's make sure that it still works for our subscription. Let's run that one. Images. Nope. It is unhappy. Okay. Oh, well, there you go. You have to name it correctly. Subscription. It's not. It's subscription. Is it plural? Let's look. Subscription stats. Okay. And that is why we have tests. Because then it's easy enough for me to add that in as opposed to running up the server and all that. Oh, still not happy. What'd I do? Subscription stats. Subscription stats. Oh. I probably don't need this, though. But, oh, different error. Undefined method count for nil class. Line 5. That's where we need to look. And I don't think you need this, actually. Go take that out. Run both tests again, but yeah, that looks better. All right, and so line 5 at transactions. Okay, what's the error again? It is undefined method count for a nil class. Going into the helper method. So total customers is the helper. I think on here. Transactions dot count. Okay. So let's go look again at the controller and see how we're setting transactions. Aha! I must not have run. I don't think I ran every spec again at the end of that. You should do that. Here we go again with not having monthly. So it didn't set it at all because it didn't find anything called subscription. Okay. All right, so that should work better now. Nope. Is it still the same error here? see what's happening there. Let's just do one. It's not even going there. Well, there you go. That's part of the problem. Let's make sure you always want to double check the spec as well. Make sure you're creating oh. I think I need to create invoice with subscription, because just plain invoice, I believe, is payment plan. I'm not sure why I did that, but I did. So I need to invoice for subscription. Yeah, I think at the time it was easier. This could probably use refactoring. Probably subscription. Probably one-time payment should be the instead of having to set these back at nil. Yeah, just giving myself a code review at the same time. But let's just, you know, again, you know, I think this, I could go through all of this and redo it, but I think I want the full, you know, let's get through until it's pretty stable and then go through, because then, you know, you're going to be more informed. So that's why I'm waiting. And this guy, we need to make this invoice, because what I've created, the payment plan, is not there. So controller, let's take that back out. I think I figured out what the problem was, so let's see. Again, it's always good to go and look at your spec again. Sometimes it's in the spec, it's not in code, which I think was a very good lesson when I finally learned that, with that aha. Oh, right, you know. Okay, still issues. Let's see. Is it different? It's different. Ah, we have a cassette happening. Okay. Maybe. So I'm using VCR, in case you're just watching this, VCR to record API transactions. So the first step with the VCR error is just to go and delete the cassette and let it rerun. Because potentially, because I ran it first with something else. Okay, let's go see where we have that. So that should be under support. Manages subscription invoice. And was that all of the specs failed, or just this one? One example, one failure. Oh, right, because I was just running the one. I feel like I should delete all of them. And rerun them all. Let's do that. Let's remove spec support, VCR cassettes, vendor manages. Oh, why is it not? Oh, right, manages subscription invoice by deleting by editing by viewing. It doesn't really hurt to rerun them, other than it takes time. Alright, so let's run this one and see if that fixes the VCR error. Yay! Okay. So now let's run them all. In that file. Oh, sadness. Why is that one working? Okay. Everything else worked. Is it the same count issue? Okay. Alright, let's look at our other so this one worked. Okay. Create invoice to delete. Uh-oh. Okay, that's on there. Aha! Right? So this needs to be invoice for subscription. Alright, let's see. Let's just take it one at a time again. I may have to delete that again, delete the VCR again, but let's see. Okay. Alright. Gonna take the chance. See if we got them all going. Alright. Yay, okay. 3 dots. 4 dots. Oh. One failure. Do we... let's see. HTTP request has been made that VCR does not know how to handle. Okay. So that was deleting. So let's delete that guy again. And run just that one. G6. Yay! Okay. Alright. I should really just run them all again one more time. And while I'm doing that, I'll just check the chat. I'm pretty confident. Maybe overconfident, but here we go. Let's see. Hello! To speed up. Yes. Controller. Yes, I definitely. Oh, so I'm reading real, flipper. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Real flipper. Yes, definitely the enum. You know, I should just write that down now because that's definitely been on my mind. The pluralized helper. I'm not sure that will work for this particular. Because it's not, I could try it, but it's not an actual attribute. It's like pulled from something else. Doing all that work in the controller. That's a good idea too. You know, extending what we're doing, like gathering. Because what we're saying here is in the controller we're doing all this work, right? And you want to keep your controllers as lean as possible, so it really would be there's a design pattern that would be a service to like go and gather up all of the transactions, and you know, we could put that in the model right now, like gather transactions maybe would be good. I think just plain transactions makes me feel like I would think that it's a whole table and it's not, although that would have been potentially the better way to design this. Well, we could have we could have our separate tables, but maybe we all inherit from a class called transactions. We could have a model class, transactions, that the others could inherit from potentially. That's also another design pattern. That would be, because it's you know, it is something that obviously we're using in this view a lot, and also in we have a whole transactions list, right, for just yeah right, I made a whole list. I called it list, but I really meant it should be called index. So even though it's not a table, I think maybe a good design pattern would be to change it to be a model and have inheritance. So, should we just write these things down so I don't forget? One of the things, um, one of the things about, I'm going to call it backlog. Um, uh, Sidebar. If you've ever heard of the term mommy brain, I absolutely agree. My memory is not as good as it used to be. And so, because there's just too much else filling up your brain. Like, there's just more filling up your brain about things you have to do and to take care of the baby and other things. Like, it's just, like, so full. So I have to write down everything now. Whereas I used to be able to, like, kind of just think about things. So, but let's write these down. Because Twitch doesn't save the chat either. So that's refactor. Let's just put the enum first, right? The enum. I will read your thing just a moment. There we go. All right. Just a moment. Let me get back to copy pasting. Sorry, this is management here. This isn't coding, but hey, this is part of the process. Refactor, payment types. This would be, I agree. Much better. All right, and then guard RSpect. Yes. Maybe we go and do that right now. We play with it. I haven't ever used it. I've had folks recommend it to me, but maybe once we get this this view, because it's gonna run the test as soon as you save, right? But yeah, so you guys aren't sitting around. Let's add that right here. Move it to the top. And I'm gonna look at that later. I'm gonna look at this, I think, a little later. I'm just gonna add them in. Thanks so much. I'm gonna pluralize helper. Let's get that going. I assume that's okay. So real Philipper first, and then for now, transaction doesn't have to be a table. A helper method matching what you have there would be a decent first step refactor. All right, yeah, as opposed to thinking about it as a class and all that. Let's put that in. High five! I sent out the thing. Okay, sorry. Let's add it to here. And move it up to. I haven't put VCR to all the specs, most of them. So the question about VCR. VCR, I assume that's not video cassette recorder. So that's where they got their idea. Let me go back to the app. So it is, and you'll see here the cassettes, and what it's doing is recording the API interaction. So, yes, they do take the name of the gem from video cassette recorder. So as if you had, back in the 80s and 90s, early 90s, had a VCR. Then you would record it and you'd play it back. And it was cassettes. So yes, they call it VCR cassettes is the folder that it makes. And it's recording it so that when you run the test again, you're not hitting the API. You are serving this recording to your app. So this one recorded, after I create all the invoices, I have a bit.ly link. So bit.ly is in there. Sometimes there's Stripe in there. It's recording all these interactions to serve back to it. And just as a review, this is like configuration. And so it was getting a little cumbersome to try to do all of the cassettes at once. So I allow HTTP connections when no cassette is true. If you want to really just like go all in and put them in every spec, you would take that out. I found it to be not helpful to me. And so, as I've gone through and seen what I need to put in, then I've added VCR. And you add it with this little tag here, VCR. It was a recent Ruby snack. So, in fact, it might be the last one. Most recent. So if you go to rubythursday.com/episodes, it should be one of the very first ones there at the top on how to include that. So it's been very helpful. It has sped up the test suite quite a bit. Yes, that's what it is, and I've really enjoyed it as far as a tool. I also have it set to re-record fairly often. Oh, I didn't write. I think it's every 30 days, but this is days. So not super often, but once in a while. Okay. No problem. Thanks. I can't say all these exec. I'll just go with the first couple letters there. All right. I feel like I took a lovely sidebar. Thank you so much for your awesome feedback. And yes, we had no failures. Okay, so got all that going on. I'm not quite sure how these look. But I think I will actually give you guys the choice about what we do next. So as I type this up, that'll give it that, because there's a little delay when you're live coding and live streaming. So I could either go and look at our actual view and make sure it looks okay, because I made a guess on how that one-time payment would look, and what I would do, I believe I have it in here. Usually what I do is change the driver, but I've just been doing WebKit. Did I not include? Sometimes I have both WebKit and Selenium. I do have Selenium in here, because I find it to be easier in my flow to have Selenium going, put in the JS true even if it didn't need it, just so that so that the page loads and you can look at it, to check for the design, for the actual HTML and CSS. I find that to be actually quicker than running up the local Rails server and creating all the things I need to test it. Of course, when everything gets up on staging, I look at it more, fully. But to me, that's a better flow for me. So that's what I would do to look at it. But so that's option one. Look at the actual HTML and CSS and see if what I've done looks okay, because I just kind of made a guess. Two is to put in guard RSpec. I actually have never done that before. So we could just look through and put it in, and yes, hopefully that helps with the live stream waiting for these tests to go. So give me a vote in the chat, and because obviously it's a suggestion from chat, so he already knows how to do it, he or she. But let me know what you, so those are the two little things, and then we can get back to our list. We have about 40 minutes. But right now, I'm going to commit, and then check back on chat. So get, I'm going to add it all. No, it's include, although I haven't done payment plan yet. That's kind of like repeating pretty much everything that we just did, so I don't think that'll be very interesting, and hopefully I can get to that offline. Include additional no, create partials for stats for different types of invoices. There we go. Still need payment plan. Well, let's just do partials for one payment and subscription. Let's just put that in the positive. Okay. Let's go ahead and push, because we've done a couple of commits. And now hopefully the vote is in. So whatever the vote is, here we go. Okay, yeah. Oh, thank you. Lots of good stuff. Check view, we've got. All right, check view. Here we go. So let's clean out some of this, but thank you for more suggestions. I'll go back and copy paste that again before. I'm gonna leave that open. I think we can get rid of that. I'm just trying to clean this out a little bit. We'll leave this one open. There's less to be built with it. So we'll have a binding cry here, right? And so it'll load, and then we'll do JS true. And this is purely to go and look at it, and then we take this all back out. But I do need to set. If I just do this, then Selenium will be the default. All right, now Selenium doesn't always play nice because Firefox updates Pretty often, all of them do. But sometimes the gem is really not up to date. Um, so we'll have to see. May have to run up our server. But let's see if this little that's pretty far back. Let me just call it. I feel like I call it a hack. A little I don't know. Could be a tip if you think it works for you. Spec. Manages one-time payment. So it should bring up the letting it slower. Then drink my water. Here we go. Yay! Okay. Sometimes that doesn't happen. So let's see if it's gonna load it up. Great. Okay. See, this is what I mean by it puts it all in there, and I didn't have to run up the server. And oh, it's so tiny. It's so tiny. One customer is so tiny. Because when it's part of this grid, because the subscriptions stats have a lot more information, right? Because it's an ongoing thing. You need to see if some are canceled or some are, unpaid. So you need to really kind of track down why, or I mean, just to know what's up. So let's increase that font, shall we? Let's see. I'm going to inspect element. What I'm probably going to be doing is adding a class. But for now, it's 8. Let's change this size version. That's 12. Okay, so let's maybe double it. 24. And 16. There's no margin or padding here. It's at a bottom of like what, 5? I don't know if my designer is watching me do this. I may go to the chat here and he's like, oh yeah, that looks good. He can always tell me something else, but at least this is better. And I'll have these one customers, and we'll fix the pluralization later. I think that's okay for now. Again, it's I'm not the designer. I'm just gonna check the chat. It's probably not watching. So Ejex pipes in, I spent so much time getting headless Chrome, regular Chrome, and browser tech to run against the same test code. It was rough. There's lots. Yeah, the testing with the browsers is with the JS True tag is not easy. There are things to kind of work through sometimes. Maybe they'll make that easier sometime. I mean, I still love, I do love, running it up like this. I think that's useful sometimes. But then having a really fast test suite is also useful, and Selenium is not fast. So, all right, so let's leave it like this. It's better than it was. We're going to need to add some classes. Let's see what we have here. And yeah, a little bit of behind the scenes here. What we do, Todd, as my co-founder in life and business, he's the designer, and he uses a product called Webflow. And you still have to know how to, CSS, but it does help speed things up. So this is what he exported, and I changed a little bit. It doesn't come as SCSS. But because he has this other project that he's going to work on and keep up to date, these kinds of things that I change, I put into different CSS. So I like to call it working edits. So they come in last, huh? Got the ZZ going. And so it's a much smaller file. I could create, an invoice only one. That's the standard for Rails. Like when you run generators, it'll, add things. Like I should probably delete this because I'm not really going to use it. This is how I handle it. So it's all in the same place, but that could be a different way of doing it. If you had really huge CSS files and you only wanted to load certain ones per page, you can do that. But this is the quick and dirty version, and I'm just going to put it here. I didn't think about mobile. We'll look at that next. So let's add, and we try to name things pretty well. This is going to be on one-time payment. Stat number, because it's the number. And we added a bottom margin. And we added the font size to be double. All right, now we need to one-time payment customers. And that font was 16. Okay, now for fun. go to responsive. Okay. Just that this got to be small again. Maybe it reloaded. It may not totally reload our things. Let's see. Oh, it got smaller. And here it must have, see this on max width 9 in this media query, it goes smaller. So let's go back to 24. Does it look okay? Because there's nothing. I think that's fine. Let's just keep this changed at 991. Okay. And the margin stays the same. We're just saying, no, really. That's the same. Oh, wait. wait. We haven't added these yet. It's not going to be in there. So we have to add them to the HTML. Let's do that before we change anything. And these are in, this is in the partial. So that's the number. And then the other one is the customers. Customers text, technically, but I think that's okay. And we'll fix that later. Well, let's fix it now. Where's our link? Pluralize. Since we're dealing with it. Oh. Yeah. All right, so pluralize. Oh, well, you can set what. And it can be capital. Can it be, I guess it could be all caps, like the, could change that. All right, so oh, okay. I'm sorry. Sometimes I forget to think out loud. All right, so pluralize. Oh, here, interesting. So if it's just one, it's one person. It's three users. That's cool. Okay. So it would be pluralize All right, pluralize the total customers. And it would be I always use, I don't know, I just like the double quotes. I know. Okay. Let's see. Pluralize total customer. Okay. Should work. And now we need to change our spec. I think that's it. So let's go here. It's going to time out pretty soon anyway. Let's exit. And you may get a timing out error eventually if you keep it up for too long. So now let's run it again. And just take a look one more time, make sure it looks okay. Drinking my water. Here we go. Oh. Well, A is too small. B, now we have one customer like that. Can you put in a break? Let's see. Well, let's deal with the font size first. What did I not do? Oh. Well, that's wrong. So I had the dot there. So that would be that one, but why isn't the other one bigger? Not appear to be loading it. Okay, so what maybe do is add... Here, well, let me just triple check. I mean, it should be loading... Oh, well, it puts everything together in the application CSS, so... Don't know that this is going to help. Yeah, I mean, it's putting it all together. All right, maybe what I need to do is chain it so it makes sure loads it in. And then the other one is works. Now did just looking back here, guys, if you have, let's see. Role of customer. Okay, so we're right here. Let's see. Don't you need the plural of customer too? It should. For responsive text. Yeah. Thanks, real Philipper. Only that I'd have to talk about that with Todd. Because you know what exports from Webflow is all in PX. So if I wanted to then change it all to EM, I have to sort of maybe wait till the whole design settles a little, because that would be it's still changing. Okay, so uppercase the text versus code in all caps in line. Yeah. Missing a closing paren. Is that in here? Yeah. Customers. Oh, where? Missing a closing paren. These. Maybe I fixed it. All right. But now here's the thing: is that we have it on 2 lines, is what the design would rather have. So how can we pluralize? Let's see if it's in the docs here without showing. Or adding a break. I mean, sometimes you can do. I mean, I could look it up. Rails plural. What? Two lines. It's like a do. Maybe you can add a do. Pluralize without count number. open that in a different link. Dot pluralize. Oh, as opposed to using it as the helper in front of it, you're using it behind. String pluralize. Ah. Okay. Especially then, it's probably going to not pluralize with a capital S. So, I probably do need to transform, like he said, like Real Philipper said. Oh! Hey! Yay! Okay. Alright. 1, 2, 3. Ended at the same place. Okay, so, alright, so let's go ahead and text transform capitalize, because I do believe that's not going to, if I use the dot pluralize, it's probably going to add like a lowercase s. That would be my guess. So working edits. No, well, yeah. It needs to be on customers, because that's oh, well, okay, sorry, just looking through here, we have customers, trial. I'll bet we could pluralize that, trials. But number active, number past due, number unpaid, number canceled, that we don't want to pluralize. But customers and trials could. So, I think we should make it its own class, and we can put it where we want it. So let's make it another class. Loading my class though. Let's dot pluralize. No, capitalize. Oh, no, we could do for everything. It's not about pluralizing, it's about capitalizing. All of them. Let me just do it to the one place right now. This is a working edit. We will ask the designer if he wants to go ahead and put that in everywhere. Let's see. Let's add this. Here. Okay. So it's going to be customer. Right. What if it's 0? Do you guys know? I could go into Rails console and check it out, but I'm just curious. If you know, what if it's 0? I'm gonna keep working, and if you don't answer, right, we'll test it out. But oh no, too much. Just need this to go away. Customer dot pluralize total customers. Oh, there are way too many. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. And capitalize it. Okay, I think that's gonna happen. I'm gonna check back on chat. 0 works. Okay. Okay, let's go back and check this out again. Hopefully I'm loading the CSS correctly this time. So that it'll look beautiful. All right, we are wrapping up here. We'll definitely get this, take a look at it anyway. So thank you so much all for your help. Was there anything else I needed to, while that kind of loads? I feel like there was one other. Yeah, I'll copy paste this in to talk about. Probably do this one. I think we completed. I'll just put it over there. All right, let me see. It's loading, but I will look. Yeah, because I am calling total customers twice there. Yay! It didn't capitalize it, but it looks better. So I might. Did I put it in the wrong spot? It is doing customer, so it's doing that correctly. I did put it in, right? Text Travis form. Capitalize. All right, let me just look at. Oh, I set the variable in the view? I mean, it would hit the database fewer times. Because it does. I mean, would it be better to instead just set customers in the controller? Because that's also just once. I mean, I know it's in the controller, but we could pull all that out into a service, just set all those variables. Because I've done that on very view heavy, on very variable, like instance variable heavy views. I have pulled out setting all that into a service so that it happens, it's easier to test. I feel like testing controllers to me is not my favorite thing. That's just me. But maybe for now we actually go ahead and set it in the view, right? So instead in the controller. So instead it would be I don't know why it's not capitalizing. We'll work on that later. Because it's getting to be 7 o'clock. All right, it failed because it's not capital. So, I hate to end on a that, but oh well. What was I saying? It was the suggestion, instead of calling total customers at transactions as a view helper, maybe it makes more sense to set it in the controller. And then, once we refactor to pull that out in some way from the controller. Right? So, at customers, Wait, let's look at this again. Because if it's just transactions, wouldn't it just be the transactions.count? Why do I have the total customers anyway? Well, especially for this view. Right. Because on subscriptions, there are they could be in different stages. They could be unpaid, they could be canceled. I mean, I guess it's more of a question of what is the information that is showing. It's showing the I mean, even in subscriptions, when we think about it, is it showing all of the customers? Why is that a separate thing? Maybe because it makes a nice grid. Maybe because we have, if we're just doing active, trial, past due, unpaid, and canceled, that's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But past due and unpaid and canceled. Well, past due is meaning they're having trouble with their credit card. Unpaid means that they never paid. And cancels means that the person initiated the cancel. So 5 is harder to make into a nice, pretty grid. So I think that's why we put that there. You know, that might just be a feedback to the designer then. It's like, well, maybe we, this might be a little confusing if you're reading it. Like, does that mean total customers is the addition of all of these? Or really, to me, customers, like, what does that really mean for a subscription? For one-time payment, it's obvious. And I think that we just need what did the helper method, sorry, jumped, but it really is transactions.count. Like, that seems, yeah, a little silly there. Not a little silly, but maybe we don't, maybe we, you know, put it together. I don't know. I'm just thinking about the design here. It's a good suggestion. I think I'm going to look back and see if you guys have any other input, but I think we'll have to think about that a little bit more on what it means. Okay, I'm reading here. So you'd have more viewers, by the way, if you set a game. Meaning if my type of stream was a game? Because, yeah, there's lots more gamers on Twitch. Is that what you mean? Creative is what you want. Just pro tips from a fellow Ruby dev. Creative, like my Twitch settings? That's what we're saying? Okay. Genre. Okay. No, in the game field, you can set your stream to creative. Okay. So, okay, cool. Why not? If that's what more people on Twitch are using, that's a game and creative. It's in your dashboard. Well, thank you. I will definitely look at that. Now, exec gate curly and or cells, that is. Curly and I'll just copy paste that into my lookup. You're talking about JS testing? Like browser testing? I think so. Okay. Alrighty. I know we're leaving it in kind of a really? Okay. Marked as not playing, which is okay. Okay, oh no, don't look at curly cells now. They're both a way of extracting the Ruby out of your views. Probably too late for it in this project. Okay, well, I will just look it up in general to learn. Yeah, our workflow, with Webflow, I think makes it, a little harder to use some of those tools, but it might be good for a different project. So I know you're I need to figure out how to like set this out, right? Pop out, yes. So you're not looking at that is really distracting, I'm sure. Did it keep all the messages? Oh, Twitch. Feedback. If you pop it out, I want to keep my history. It's gone now. I think I copy pasted what I needed. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. Thank you so much for all your feedback and help and tips. It's been awesome. So I think a few more people got to come to this Thursday than Saturday, and I'm sure I'll do some on Saturday as well. Oh, sorry. Let me just go back to me. There we go. I think you will. That was great for the Thursday night. We'll probably do some Saturdays as well. But thanks so much for watching, and I will sort of figure out the capitalization and where I want to set that transaction things versus customers. It sort of opened up, like, it sort of started making me think about the whole thing again. But that sometimes happens, like a small little thing, like, setting how many customers. So thanks so much for everything. Again, if you're on Twitch and finding me, I will go and hopefully Todd has saved how does that Twitch thing. It's genre games and then creative, I think. So I will switch that up, but be sure to follow and hey, sign up to the mailing list if you're finding me on Twitch. I do have other things called Ruby Snacks, and we have a Ruby Roundtable meetup that I post. So that's at rubythursday.com. All right, guys, have a good night or day wherever you are in the world, and thank you for saying thank you. Woohoo! All right, take care. All right, bye-bye.